Hi everyone, welcome to the Pie of Genius podcast. My name is Jeff. I'm a business and executive coach. And one of the ways that I help leaders and managers and business owners really amplify their impact is to give them an opportunity to share their story. And I always find it fascinating when you get to hear not just what someone does, but the story and the people behind it. And I'm sure that you will too. So welcome to this episode. I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, please subscribe and share it with your friends. All right, guys, enjoy the episode. Hi, everyone. I am here with Jennifer Armstrong. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you.
So why don't you just share a little bit about the organization you're a part of and what you do?
Sounds good. So I am currently the executive director at the Joyce L. Sobel Family Resource Center, which is located right in the kind of the heart of town, next door to the food bank and the Mullis Center, across the street from Marketplace. We always tell people if they're trying to find us.
Yeah.
And we've been here for about 25 years. We're an independent sort of grassroots nonprofit that was started by Joyce Sobel, a longtime Islander. Joyce had a real love of early childhood education and early learning, and initially started the center to provide an inclusive space where young families could come and get to know each other and have play groups together. She really realized that rural, remote communities can be especially difficult for new parents if they don't have access to extended family, and it's awfully quiet out here in the middle of winter, especially if you're home with a new baby, etc. So the Resource Center really emerged out of those programs to serve very young children and families. But over the years, it's grown a great deal. We still have those original programs. In fact, we may hear some noise outside in our yard in a few minutes because we have playgroup happening this morning. But we've really expanded the range of programs we have for children and families all the way up through adulthood. Everything from youth mentoring to some disability advocacy programs. We have a program called Island Neighbors that really recruits and trains volunteers from the community to do weekly check-ins and some social support for maybe elderly people who are homebound and don't have much of a support system. So a really broad array of kind of social and educational enrichment programs. And alongside that, what's really emerged as a need over the years that we've hopefully grown to fill as best we can is an array of more what we think of as like concrete social services or safety net services. So things like emergency rental assistance, help with emergency transportation needs, do lots of utility assistance at this time of year for families and individuals who are struggling to keep up with their heating bills. We have income-based mental health services, which is a very highly utilized program here. People can tap into getting counseling pretty easily and pretty affordably. So big array of things happening around here.
Yeah, it sounds like it's really grown from what it originally started at. It's really kind of expanded
It's
over the
expanded
years.
tremendously. Yeah, just as our community has expanded. Yeah, absolutely. I think I came to work here in 2013, and we had kind of 2.5 people on staff doing programs and services, including myself. And right now we're up to about 18.
Wow.
And people are busy. They are definitely, busy with their workloads. No surprise the pandemic had an impact on that, but I hesitate to say that the expansion of our services and programs and the need for those services, because we track that pretty carefully, is all pandemic related, because there's so many other sort of economic and social factors at play there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Housing crisis,
Yeah.
cost of living in general. Yeah. Lots of issues that play into the need to provide these services.
And I've also noticed over time how the building has expanded and gotten bigger? Because you
Mhm.
guys had that, you built this whole section a couple
Yes,
years ago or whatever that.
2020.
Yeah,
Yeah, so this building has kind of an interesting history. It was originally two little houses
I
that
remember
had been
that.
moved here on
Okay.
site. And they're owned by the Mullis Center, which owns all the
All this
property of this
property. Hmm.
campus where the food bank is. We are master gardeners. It's all Mullis Center land. And so these two little houses had been dropped onto the property here, kind of side by side. And Joyce, in her wisdom, went to the Mullis Center and said, if I raise some money and pay to get this remodeled into a viable little office
Right.
space to have a resource center, because prior to that she was in an office above the pool at the health club.
Oh my.
Apparently, there's a tiny
Yeah.
little office up there. I've never been up there, but yeah. So really desperate to, find a space to make a home for the resource center. So she asked if she raised the money to sort of rehab those two little houses and create a little building, if then she could have a rent-free lease
Oh.
for a
Hmm.
sustained period of time. And they said sure, which was great. So that's how the original resource center developed. Um, and then, yeah, by 2017, it was clear that we were maxing out space. We couldn't provide the sort of privacy we wanted to provide for
Hmm.
clients. There were even some safety considerations with, the need for more emergency exits in the
Right.
building, et cetera. And we really wanted to, plan ahead for the future in a responsible way. We did a lot of community focus groups actually about what people in the community viewed as emerging needs and the role of the resource center and what kind of facility it would require. We were actually planning to do a smaller expansion of the building. And after doing those community focus groups and getting community input,
Right.
sort of the strongest message was, oh no, you guys need to be building bigger than you're planning. So, okay. So we were really fortunate. We had a capital campaign that the community really got behind in a lovely way.
Yeah.
We were able to go and we were able to get some grants. A grant from the MJ Murdoch Charitable Trust helped us quite a bit, along with our local community foundation and lots of generous donors. So we were able to secure all the costs to expand before we started the construction.
Great. So,
And yeah, started construction in September of 2019, and then the pandemic hit. But we were already out of the building working remotely, or actually from one of our great board members brought her 1968 Shasta trailer and parked it in the parking lot here, and so that was our,
mhm,
our temporary office
right.
during the pandemic. But we were able to move back in here in
And
June
ju-
of
yeah.
2020. Yeah.
Well, it's a really nice space. I didn't see it till maybe like a month or so ago.
Hmm.
Um, a really nice building.
It
S-
is. We're really lucky to have it, and happy that we're able to, yeah, have a building that's,
Expand into it and have, yeah.
yeah, and make it more accessible. The disabled access is greatly improved. There's a lot more,
Mhm.
private office space for meeting with people when they come in, so they feel like whatever they have to say or whatever their situation is absolutely private and
Private. Yeah,
confidential.
that's
Yeah.
great. So, can you think of uh, a story where you or someone on your staff have really just made someone's day, made someone smile? I'm sure there are, but can you think of an example that you can, without names, I guess, that you can share just something that
Yeah,
happened?
sure. That's pretty easy to do around
I'm
here.
sure that it is.
So
Yeah.
it's hard to choose. One of the things when I heard you say that pops to mind immediately, just because holidays are coming up.
Yeah.
For many years, our resource center has had sort of a holiday sponsorship program, and traditionally, that's been a program to help families with kids who are, going through some sort of
Mm,
emergency and maybe not able to have much of a holiday. Um, Pair them anonymously with a sponsor who will
oh,
help out with some
yeah.
gifts for the family and make sure that they can have a nice holiday. That's always really heartwarming. Obviously, can't
Hmm.
can't get better than that. However, about 3 years ago, we sat down and talked about sort of the intent of that program and the scope of it. And one thing we have just seen more and more of out here is an increase in older community members who live alone and don't seem to have much of a support network. And so, our team sort of talked about, it feels really weird. It's great to support families. We want to keep doing that during the holidays. But I just keep thinking about the senior I've been working with who I know is sitting home alone on Christmas with nothing happening. So we decided to expand the scope of the program to sponsor seniors who live alone and maybe don't have any families around. They don't apply to be a part of it. They're just sort of selected by our staff who get to know them, and we check in with Mullah Center and a few other places. And it's a simple process. They're simple little gifts, but it's a way of reaching out and just letting those people know that they're on our radar. There are people in the community that care about them. Drop off a gift basket with some nice coffee, nice throw blanket, just some things for their home that
they're being thought of.
They're being thought of.
They're part of the community,
and that has certainly created huge surprise smiles and a lot of smiles around our office too. Just being able to make those connections. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Good stories. So is there anything you'd like to highlight people might be interested in?
How many things can I highlight, Jeff?
Well, let's just start with one. We can put some other things in the show notes, those other things, but just...
Okay, so I think what I'd like to highlight is our infant and toddler childcare cooperative. Okay. So a lot of people on our island don't know that we've had a real crisis with accessibility to childcare over the past few years. Our agency conducted a community-wide survey, both of families and also childcare providers, and did a lot of research about sort of what is the state of childcare accessibility, availability on our island. We did that back in 2021. And one thing we learned from collecting all of that information is that in the sort of 4-year period leading up to 2021, so not just the pandemic, again, it wasn't just about the pandemic, but in that 4-year period, we had lost over 40% of our professional childcare capacity on island. So a bunch of programs had closed. And along with that, there was this big need for working families to be able to have safe, affordable care for infants and toddlers. And there were like no spaces. I mean, one childcare provider had 7 spaces for toddlers, maybe 18 months and up. And that was it. And we had,
much greater demand than that.
Probably 60 families desperate for care for, kids who are under the age of 18 months. So we partnered with Skagit Valley College, which has a longstanding cooperative preschool program. We reached out to them on the mainland and said, hey, got this little campus up here. Could this program be adapted to serve families with babies and toddlers? And they said, yeah, absolutely. So it's a very cool model. We have space in the program for 9 toddler families and 6 infant families. The tuition is basically income based or tied to income, so it's sort of a sliding scale tuition. We keep costs down quite a bit by having a model where each family enrolled in the co-op, a parent has to do 1 helping shift a week in the classroom. So that helps us follow those very strict state guidelines of, for really little guys, how many adults per child in, because those ratios are very low, which is why so many centers can't do it. So it's a work in progress, but I'm super proud of the parents and families who stepped forward to work with us and make this happen. They've really developed not only a nice childcare program, but a really tight community where they support each other. and it's an awesome program. We do have 2 toddler slots opening up in December.
Okay.
So I'll do a little plug there.
Yeah, you heard that. You
But
have toddlers?
we have
Right.
have space in our toddler
Right.
class if anyone's listening and interested. Yeah,
So when does the class happen?
So toddler class is every morning from 8 to 12.
Okay.
Infant class is Monday through Thursday from 1 to 5. We are working toward eventually getting licensed, which is a whole other sort of step. Lots of childcare centers out here actually aren't licensed because there's a lot of administrative red tape. You're allowed to operate at just at reduced hours.
Okay.
So once we get licensed, if we wanted to, we could have full day programs for both age cohorts. Until we're licensed, you can only have a 4-hour a day program.
Got it. Right.
So, yeah.
Good.
But it's definitely growing, and yeah, we are always looking for qualified substitute teachers who might want to be, do a subbing day now and then, as well as families who are interested in being a part of the co-op. It's a great experience.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That does sound exciting. So, what is one thing that you love about your job?
Again,
there may be more
questions.
than one. I know. Just
all right. So the first thing that comes to mind is I love the team of people that work here. And the work can be high stress at times. We have a lot of crises walking through the door, and it's not always easy to solve those issues. And it's hard to see people in distress. It's also lovely to see families coming in for play groups, so it balances out. But yeah, what makes me want to come to work every day is the team of people that work here. We have a really diverse group at this point, people from very, very different backgrounds, people of all ages, ranging from 19 to mid 70s. And it's just a great group. People have great senses of humor, interesting life stories to share. I feel really lucky that the team of people here really understand the value of supporting each other and working together, and it really makes it a delightful place to be every day.
Yeah, that's good. It does. I mean, the team you work with can make or break something.
It absolutely
and
can.
If you have people that you love to work with, and it sounds like I'm sure they're all really committed to serving people and a heart for that, and you guys get to do that together.
Yeah, it's a pretty
beautiful thing.
Close group. We never closed during the pandemic. Like we stayed open for in-person services through the entire pandemic, which was a little bit nutty, but it worked out fine. We just had really strict sort of precautions with masking, etc. But yeah, we never switched over to, only remote appointments or anything, because you realize in this sort of work, there are so many vulnerable people who they need in-person contact. It's just, that's the bottom line. So I think going through that together really solidified our team.
It always does. It's like adversity and tension. It kind of brings you together. I guess it either breaks you apart or brings you together.
It either does.
And it sounds like it really brought you together.
It's been kind of a miracle. Like we didn't, I kept reading about all these super high attrition rates of people leaving jobs, and that hasn't happened here so far. So we'll keep working at it. So yeah, they're awesome.
Thank you, Jennifer. And I was thinking too, is there any, for those people watching, and I'll put all of your contact information in the show notes and stuff, but is there anything that you might want to, people want to support, or how can people support the Resource Center?
People can support the Resource Center in a bunch of different ways. So obviously, as a nonprofit, if someone wants to steer a donation this way, it will get put to very good use. And that can either be via our website or stopping. We love it when people just stop by, and then we have a face to go along with a name when we think of that generous donor. We collect King's receipts, which is actually comes up, to a pretty sizable little stream of revenue, and it funds our household supply closet. So we provide cleaning and hygiene supplies for things like diapers, shampoo, etc., both for very low income seniors and for very low income families with young kids. Because those are sort of critical health items, and you can't use food stamp benefits to purchase them. So it's always an out-of-pocket expense for people. So King's Receipts is a big one. Volunteers. We are always looking for volunteers. We're looking for volunteers for our youth mentoring program, for the Island Neighbors program that I mentioned earlier, potentially for the childcare co-op if someone is interested, in helping out either on a regular basis in the class or as a, on-call sort of substitute teacher. Yeah, so lots of volunteer opportunities as well.
Great. So opportunities, if you feel like you want to
Absolutely
pitch in and be a part of an amazing team, whether it's just every now and then or there's all different kind of options, I'm assuming. So.
Yeah, I mean, we are a resource center, and Islanders are by far the most valuable resource, right? So we rely on, this is all about people from the community coming together to, build a stronger island for everyone, and volunteers are a huge part of that.
Good. Well, thank you, Jennifer. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Learned some things I didn't know, and what's standing out to me is really how much where it started and how much it's really expanded from the beginning, and just the impact that it's making now, that the seed got planted and it started and it just grew from there.
Yeah,
so it's
and our community has nurtured that. It's been a super responsive community that I think seems to understand the value of equity and making sure that there's somewhere where anyone on the island can come and know that there's a safety net and some support. And a welcoming environment. Yeah.
That is so good. Well, there you go, guys. I'm going to put all the information, the website or social media, whatever you have, if you want to connect with Jennifer or anybody here, I'll put that in the show notes below. So until next time, you guys have a great day, and keep thriving. Talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye. Thanks, Jennifer.